What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, in today's video, we are going over Polygon Matic as its price is starting to make some fast moves, and I think there are gains to be made almost no matter what the price does. So for that reason, of course, let's go ahead and let's jump straight into the video. So looking at Polygon Matic, of course, what we can see is that the breakdown target that we discussed just yesterday is now reached. Now, I told you guys in the last Polygon Matic video, it's actually 2 days ago, that we needed to track the 3 breakdown targets from this rising triangle. I told you guys that they would be the most recent times in which we touched the bottom side of this triangle, which was represented by a price of 67 cents, 62 cents, and 56 cents. Now, I said that if we were to lose one, expect us to come to the next one, and that if we lost this one, expect us to come to the next one, and so on and so forth, before he's eventually resorting back down towards 47 cents. Now, what you can see is at the moment we did fall out of our triangle, we came straight down to breakdown target number 1, we lost it, and then went like almost near immediately to breakdown target number 2. So for that reason, now that we have reached breakdown target number 2 and just came to retest breakdown target number 1, we need to figure out, okay, what's next? How do we go about this? And what can we expect from the price of Polygon Matic going forward? So what we can see is that we did put in some type of local bottom here on the price. Now, while we did put in that local bottom on the price, what we needed to do was compare that same point on the price to where we were back here, and compare that to on the RSI to see if we had any type of divergence. Now, what you can see is that we actually put in this bottom, but we put in just a bit of a lower low on these wick lows right here. Now, whenever you put in some lower lows, and on the RSI, you put in the higher low, that is a case of bullish divergence. And so as we did start to, edge closer and closer towards this breakdown target, it kind of made it much more clear that we could see some type of strong bounce towards the upside in order to then expect that we may retest break up target or breakdown target, of course, number 1. Now, what we can see is that the price has now been rejected off of this level and does seem to be on a pretty strong shot towards the downside at this point. But we are in what is another rising triangle. So what I'm going to do is in today's video, I'm going to cover exactly my thoughts of if we break to the top side of this triangle and if we break to the downside of this triangle. So that almost no matter what this thing does, we can start to prepare to make some gains, either to the upside or to the downside. So first and foremost, let's kind of start off with the one that I think is most likely, which is probably that we do break towards the downside of this rising triangle. That's just what they do, right? Especially if we're coming off a downtrend, we'll go into a rising triangle, we'll run into a point of rejection, and then we'll continue to the downside. I mean, that's just kind of almost always what they do. Now, if you guys do remember, we of course do know how to set the breakdown targets for rising triangles, but considering the fact that this one only has one strong breakdown target, which is about 64 cents, I'm actually going to look at this in more of a zoomed out perspective of just this entire move in itself. So what I'm going to go ahead and say is that if we do break down to the bottom side of this here triangle, we need to be paying attention to 2 important levels. The first important level is going to be right around 64 cents here, right in the middle of these two. And that is the one level that could very possibly send us back up to the upside. If we see the price get to 65 cents and bounce off of it and work its way back up above 67 cents, which is this macro major point of rejection right now, we can expect that we are very probably going to go in to set the new higher high, which could look somewhere around 70 to even up to 72 cents. So if we do start coming back down towards the 64 to 65 cent level, holding it as we did back here and get a strong bounce, again, back above 67 cents, I'm going to then accumulate at this level, expecting that we could very possibly push back up again towards this 70 cent area up here. That's the one way that I see this thing going, that if it breaks to the downside, it could still continue back to the upside and work off of this bullish divergence that we saw on the RSI and this bull cross that we did see just happen on the 4-hour MACD. There are these bullish indicators that are flashing that says that we still very possibly could see this move to the upside, but more often than not, we will break to the downside of rising triangles, which means we need to find some support. We need to hold that higher low, and then we need to continue back up there. Clearing 67 cents gives us that confirmation that it is very likely on its way to the top side. So that's the one way in which I see this thing going, in which if we do go to the downside, that we could very quickly turn around and continue. So do not, don't not pay attention to 64 cents, as it will be Extremely, extremely important. Now, it does also work somewhat similarly to this previous breakdown target number 2 that we talked about around this 62-cent level. If for any reason we do break to the downside and immediately come down to 62 cents, there is a chance that we double bottom out here around this 62-cent level, and that would work the same exact way. I'm looking for 67 cents to be cleared at that point, and if we do clear 67 cents, right here is the point of accumulation with an expected gain of, up to about 72 to 74 cents as well. In this event, of course, what you would do is if we say did something of this nature, you're going to go ahead and take the distance from that top of the W to the bottom of the double bottom and apply it. And as you can see, your break up target is about 72 cents. So one way or another, if at any given point we do break to the downside of this here rising triangle and establish support on 64 cents or double bottom out at 62 cents, do be on the lookout for us to clear 67 cents, as that will be the level of rejection that will send us back up to some of these levels if we do clear it. Now, if we are going to work our way to the downside, let's talk about if this thing just continuously falls and we come back below 62 cents. Well, you guys know I told you, if we lose one, I short to the next, and if we lose one, I short to the next. So my current game plan is that if we lose 62 cents, I will begin to short Matic all the way down towards 56 cents, probably looking to take profits around 58 cents. This has been something I've been doing a lot recently. As I showed you guys not too long ago, over in the Patreon, I even opened up a short trade on Bitcoin. I had about a 4% estimated gain if it was going to be the perfect short trade, but of course that never happens. What we can see is that I opened it up around 29,000 on 2.5x leverage, but as we did see that breakdown target get lost, I started to notice a micro bullish divergence forming, and so for that reason I was like, that looks a little sketchy. I feel like we're going to get a short-term pump here or a strong retest soon. So I went ahead, I closed that trade at 1.55% of a gain right around these levels and right after we saw this pump back above our entry point. And so for that reason, although we are not seeing the most bullishness in the market right now, there are still gains that can be made even if we are falling, as we can short from breakdown target to breakdown target, because things especially such as Matic have a strong tendency of reacting very, very commonly to these breakdown targets. So again, to make it simple, to make it easy, if we do break to the bottom side here, I'm looking for support at 64 or 62. If we bounce off any one of those levels and go back up over 67, that is the point in which I will accumulate, expecting a push towards 72 cents. If we do come back down under 62 cents, do be on the lookout for us to probably start to fall towards 56 cents here, and 1 to 2 4-hour closes below 62 cents would be that confirmation for me to go ahead and enter my short trade, probably on like 2 to 2.5x leverage, expecting to see about a 9%, about 10% in gains from 62 to 56, which would probably be on 2 to 2.5x leverage, so that could be up to 25% in gains. Now do remember, all of this is not going to happen unless Bitcoin's price is matching the same energy, so do be watching Bitcoin and keep a close eye on it, as that is going to be the common denominator for all of our altcoins on where they go and why they move in that direction. But overall, I do think it is extremely important to pay very close attention to these levels. Watch for the support establishment. If at any point we clear and close above 67 cents, I am going to go long. But while we are above 62 cents, I am still prepared for at any point to go short on this thing, expecting us to push down to this final breakdown target. As you guys can see, my strategy is not to have an ego and to say, oh guys, we're going to go up, just trust me. And then we don't, right? And then I have to make a video, oh, was I wrong? And all that bullshit, right? That's not my goal here. My goal here is to say, look, this is what I think is going to happen. But overall, I could be wrong. So here are some other options and exactly what I would do if they come to fruition. My goal is to prepare you for any possible outcome this market provides and exactly how I would trade it in order to maximize my gains here. That's my total goal. So yes, I am saying it could go up or it could go down, because that is exactly what it can do. But a good trader doesn't focus on, being right. A good trader simply just focuses on having a game plan for anything that this market throws at them so that they can be right as often as possible. So overall, that is going to be about it for today's Matic technical analysis. Now, before I do go ahead and wrap this video up, you guys know that I always try to throw you guys little gems here and there, and ones that I think have a lot of potential, especially while we are in a market like this nature. You guys have heard me say it multiple times in videos, but I don't like to have to worry about the market going up to make gains. I like figuring out ways that I can make gains no matter what the market's doing. And one of the ways in which I have been doing that recently has been through pre-sales, in cryptos that are launching. Now, one of the ones that I have for you guys today is actually one that's pre-sale is live right now, and that is going to be for Metarix. Now, I'm under the belief, and I have a conviction that we are going to see the metaverse really catching some steam and really catching some momentum, especially as we start to see this bull run go on. And so for that reason, whenever we are starting to see the market kind of flat right now, I have been looking for these different metaverse cryptos and gaming cryptos that I think have a lot of potential, so that when we start to see the metaverse catching momentum again, they could be very possibly the ones that do catch a lot of steam and a lot of attention, which of course could be extremely rewarding. I'm trying to get ahead of the curve and find that next narrative, and I think that the narrative of metaverse is still very, very within reach, right? So this one in specific, this one itself is going to be one that I am extremely excited about, simply due to the fact that it does have a lot of potential from all of the work that has been put into it. Many of these metaverses just don't look that good, they don't really seem that good, but this one very clearly has had a lot of work and a lot of thought put into it, which I think gives it a strong advantage. Okay, so the Metarix, a virtual social space, is a tokenized decentralized metaverse theme park comprising of 12 zones, 9 themes, and 3 virtual properties. We want to offer enormous and limitless opportunities for engagement and futuristic growth to users in the metaverse. We are committed to rendering innovative contemporary solutions to our users. To do so, we are coming up with a virtual themed city, a gaming and NFTs platform, Metarix. Metarix will be a decentralized metaverse theme park containing 12 zones and 9 themes. Our theme park will be a land for Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, and Bitcoin. So overall, it just does seem as if a lot of thought and a lot of overall work is being put into this itself. And considering the MTRX token is going to be the fuel for this entire ecosystem, I definitely do think it's interesting. It seems as if there's one that has a lot of potential. Do understand it is extremely risky just in this market to invest in anything in general, and getting into pre-sales does even bring on even more risk. So make sure you're doing your research. Don't do anything crazy, right? But I do think that it is a way to see some potential gains. Of course, nothing is guaranteed, but pre-sales, even though they haven't been doing as well as maybe they were at the top of the bull market, they definitely do still serve as a great way to take a strong risk, but even possibly make some strong gains. So for that reason, that's going to be about it for today's video. And of course, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, you can always let me know simply by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. And I will see you all next time. Peace.